What's going on, y'all? Welcome in to our brand new show. This is called Real Friends. Yes, I know, very creative name, but basically it explains it. We're three friends. We sit down. We take three movies, not necessarily new movies, can be older movies. We're going to take three movies each week. We're going to watch them. We're going to discuss them. And then at the end of the show, we're going to rank them. For this October month, we're going to do it Halloween style. It'll be a mixture of just scary movies, maybe some Halloween movies throughout the month. But this week, we're focusing in on your kind of nostalgia plays, your little kid movies, the ones that you remember fondly from when you grew up. And with that in mind, we're doing Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town, and The Witches. So those are the three movies that we'll be breaking down today. I should have introduced myself. I am T-Bob Hebert. This is Nathan Velasquez seated to my left. Miss Rivers Huey seated further to my left. And look, we are all on the Off the Bench Morning Show on 104.5 ESPN. We're here in our wonderful studios making this happen, but it's kind of like our episode 0. So we're going to figure this thing out as we go along, but we're really excited. We think it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, we're going to start breaking down these movies right now. So first on the list, we're going to do Witches. When did this come out, Nate?
This is 1990. The Witches came out. It's directed by Nicholas Roeg, who also, he made, did you ever see Don't Look Now? So like a famous horror movie in the 70s.
But that's not a kid's movie.
No, that's
okay,
like
that's very much an adult
of
movie.
a horror movie you could get. But this is very much a kid's movie about a young boy who stumbles onto a convention that a bunch of witches are having.
A witches convention, literally.
Literally a witches convention in a hotel in England. And he gets turned into a mouse. Him and another little boy get turned into a mouse. And they try to stop the witches before they turn all the children in England into mice.
Hey, so I guess, and we're going to go around the table. We're going to kind of give our opinions on the movies. And just so everybody knows, Nathan is our kind of resident movie expert, I guess you could say.
Still, all we're just giving our opinions.
No,
so these
absolutely,
are nothing
absolutely.
but
But
yeah,
just
so
a little
basically
background
Nate
noise.
is going to be better at this.
Just a little background
is what we're saying to you.
Yeah, like but he's probably the best in terms of just knowing the like what it takes to actually make these movies a reality. You mentioned the plan in The Witches to turn every child in England into a mouse, right? That's one of the parts of the movies that stood out to me, is that there is a completely black and white morality in this movie. Like, these witches do not have a single redeeming factor.
No,
not at all.
No, they're nasty. And I like how it opens, the opening story, because I guess all these movies have like a little opening tale about the witches, and I thought this one.
Well, this
was
whole movie
like,
is basically a tale. I mean, isn't it?
But I thought the
like
whole idea of the kids
like
being put into the paintings, I thought that was very, for like as a kid. I didn't see this as a kid, but I thought watching that as a kid, that would be pretty chilling.
I mean, it's so I thought that actually held up into adulthood.
Yeah.
How horrifying that would be. What a fate.
Just to be stuck.
And so for those who don't know, so they describe a person getting transported into a painting, and then they talk about watching that person age in the painting while the parents are devastated because the kid's missing. I mean, it's some heavy themes to open your childhood movie with.
Yeah. But I really liked it, and I thought that it, like you said, like I thought that in general the movie worked for kids and adults, which I don't think you always get with a kids movie, and I thought that kind of went throughout the whole thing.
Rivs, what was your takeaway? Now, in full disclosure, you were the one who pushed for The Witches. I had never seen it.
I pushed for this movie. I remember seeing it when I was little, and I remember watching it with a friend, and her just like being absolutely horrified and crying, and our parents having to come in and like turn it off. So I was interested to watch it again as an adult, because I honestly don't think I have since that moment. But I feel like it really stood up to time. Like,
it did.
As an adult, it was just as interesting as it was as a kid. I actually like wrote down some bullet points as I was watching, because some stuff just really tripped me out.
Yes, I want to hear it, because I was taking notes as well.
I mean, we watched a couple. This is the only one that I was like, I have got to make bullet points here. Grandma is just straight up smoking a cigar.
Like a beast, dude.
Like
yeah, I love how she always, like, she was in bed one time in the hotel, and she was just like, I need to smoke.
I need to smoke this cigar, this like thick cigar.
She had a diabetic collapse and is in bed with the doctor in the room. That's a sign that this movie came out in 1990.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just like such a normal thing. So that was a bullet point. Mr. Bean owns this hotel.
Yeah, I love that.
What? And not only does he own the hotel, I'm going to skip forward a couple bullet points to condense this. He's also sleeping with the maid in this kid's movie.
He is. he represents what is one of the stronger points of the movie, in my opinion, which is there's like a great kind of underlying British humor throughout the
Right.
whole thing, and he brings a little bit of that to it.
Right. Oh yeah. So the main witch, and we can talk about these scenes, but when they get in the conference room and they take off their wigs and all their stuff,
Terrifying.
why is the main witch the only one who actually gets really ugly?
Because
I was wondering.
Like
that
everybody
as well.
else
I
kind of
thought it
had a
worked.
weird head,
Yeah.
but like their faces were the same. But
Everybody else just
Angelica
looked
Houston just really went for it with her whole face changed, her whole thing.
I took that as her being the kind of arc witch, the head witch.
Right.
And as we established in that witch society, they are pure evil. So I imagine that there's like a power struggle for that top witch position.
Yeah.
And that if anybody gets close, they get struck down. It's like a strongest
Yeah.
survive situation.
Straight struck
Because if
down.
you look at how all the other witches look at Angelica Houston, they are in.
Oh,
they
yeah,
are
they're goo goo
fawning.
gaga.
They are like in adoration.
Yeah.
So she just must be so much more ancient and so much more powerful than the rest of
So
them.
you
I
just
think
get
that's
uglier
why.
I also
as-
thought it looked like they were like costumes and probably uncomfortable for the witches with those giants. So I thought she'd kind of, as the leader, like she gets to be comfortable. She gets to take everything off.
She
And
gets to
everyone
ju-
else is like
Oh,
you.
good
like,
take.
They're like the
Yeah.
followers.
Maybe all the other witches didn't fully take their masks off because I don't know how this works, but when you take a
Yeah.
silicone mask off of Angelica, her
just-
like
the
her
nose.
whole face just
I guess
changes
it just
completely.
compresses. Well, so speaking of Angelica Houston, she was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I think she is an excellent villain in any movie. You
This is
don't
m-
like her?
this
Ugh.
is
You didn't like
maybe-
Angelica Houston?
This is maybe where
Nathan's
I
gonna
bounce off
strike
a
you
bit.
down like the witch.
I thought this is a weird complaint to have, and maybe this is on me for having bad ears. I found her hard to understand. I
She-
found her accent
Oh,
very
that's-
was
her
that's
accent
interesting.
very hard to understand.
Her
in the
accent
movie.
also changed, I think, a little bit. So she was, I don't even know what it was in the beginning. And then when she turned into the ugly witch, she kind of sounded like a little bit of a Nazi.
She definitely had a
Yeah,
German
she went
thing
German
going on
there,
throughout
like
the
during
movie.
the convention. I liked her physicality. Like, I thought that just the way that I could believe that there was this gigantic creature trapped in
Yeah.
this little.
That's
silicone thing.
fair point.
That was
she
what
was
I
like
liked. I
bad
liked about
boss.
her.
Like she was for sure in charge.
They as far as the strengths of the movie, like I said, as a child, I think you can appreciate the black and white morality. Witches are evil. They want to kill kids. It is what it is. There's some of the questions that I have, I guess, or the criticisms. One critique would be that the conference scene went on way too long,
was
in my
long.
opinion.
How did they
very
not
long.
smell the kid the whole time?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I
Just
have no
for
idea.
like clarification,
But,
these
like-
witches can smell kids,
Yes.
and it smells like dog poop. Or is that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah,
something,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Something,
it smells
dog
bad
something.
because they're always
Smells-
like turning up their nose at it.
But they don't smell him the entire conference
No.
until the very end.
And so that was a bit confusing. The conference scene went on way too long, and I have got to call Angelica Houston's plan into highlight here. That is a horrendous plan.
I feel like
Everyone
with
was so pumped up.
yeah, with stuff, especially kids movies like this, that's always the type of thing that I usually find is fun. Like, kind of like, there's got to be
It
a
is
way.
fun. It is
Can
true.
you
It
not
is true.
streamline a better plan? Something, but
Okay,
like-
so I think I put it together though. I think I pieced the puzzle together as to why. And so the plan is to turn every child into a mouse,
right,
Using,
and then kill the mice.
And then
and
kill
then
the
kill them
mice.
using what Magic Potion 86.
yeah.
So I get it that like nobody likes mice, so I guess it makes sense from that angle. But to me, so the little kid in this movie, he has 2 pet mice. He desperately wants to train these mice, right? He loves it. To me, I see a director that has always wanted to train mice, that has always loved mice, and use this movie. Like this is his end game, is to use this movie as the perfect vehicle to have all of his mouse training fantasies. Because it's like he went out of his way to create this situation where then you have 2 mice that are now
Yeah,
a
that-
live action part of the movie.
Yeah.
And they did a good job. And look, the practical effects, the puppet work, I thought that was some of the strongest points.
I thought that, I mean, this is the oldest of the movies, and I thought that it was the one with the best special effects. I didn't think it felt dated, so I thought that was quite a testament in the movie's favor.
Absolutely. It should be noted. I would venture to guess this had a way higher budget than Halloween Town Hocus Pocus.
Okay, yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
probably
Because
so.
we
That
are
is true.
looking at, I think those other 2 are Disney Channel original movies.
One of them's an original,
Hocus
and one of
Pocus
them
was
went to
theatrical.
movie theater.
Okay, okay, so Hocus Pocus was theatrical. I didn't know that. Okay, so maybe it didn't have a different budget than Pocus. But either way, look, practical effects, I'm always a fan of. And you said this was Jim Henson?
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's why Angelica Houston's makeup was so good. Rivers, do you have all of your toes, Nate? Can you check?
Well, let me
Good
ask,
one.
a point that kind of took me out of it was actually the last 2 minutes of the movie. I kind of thought like the quick, I guess, I don't know, spoiler wise.
No, we're spoiling. We're spoiling.
Okay, all right.
Spoiling
Full,
it.
full out movie.
At the
We're talking
end,
about the movie.
One of the witches comes and turns the boy back into a boy, which I thought the way that it was handled felt like such a
Oh,
like
dude,
attack on-
shoehorned. They
Yeah.
shoehorned.
Yeah.
They were like, oh crap, how do we get him back
We
to
gotta
a
get him back.
human?
Yeah.
And they like barely set up that the one witch was kind of upset with her station, and so
Yeah.
like you get her
Well,
back.
she was
in it.
kind of the whole movie. She was a little upset. You could tell.
That's yes.
Maybe
and
knowing that
I guess at the end, yeah, it was my first time seeing it.
'Cause I thought it was gonna end with them going to sleep and just knowing like we're gonna get you back into a boy. But the fact that they showed
That
it
would
kind
have
of
been
felt
pretty
like,
bold.
it would have been.
With them still being mice. Other highlights of the movie before we move on.
Yeah.
His friend was excellent.
Bruno.
Bruno is the
Bruno
best.
was excellent. But when he turned into
voice,
a mouse,
that
He's
would
such
creep
a
me out of
when
the
shit.
shit.
he turned into a mouse, I'm pretty sure that's when my friend like lost it.
Oh, I can believe that.
It was terrifying
scary.
as an adult person to watch him turn into that mouse.
Yeah, and his voice is just so British
just trying to
and
get some
smarmy,
candy.
and
Yeah.
I'm a little fat kid that wants
He was a
chocolate.
little fat kid.
He was Bruno was excellent. The main character, Luke, I don't know that I've ever seen someone so readily accept that he's just been turned into a mouse.
just a mouse.
Like he was super chill
Well,
about
yeah.
it.
That was one of my
Yeah.
problems with the movie is like kind of how okay everybody was with how like fantastical everything was.
Oh no, you're a mouse now, Luke.
Yeah, the grandmother was kind of like,
Grandmother
oh,
was like,
I
"Oh, you're a
thought there
mouse."
were witches in this hotel.
Well, he even gets like part of his tail chopped off.
Yeah, that
and he's
was-
just like, yeah, the cook almost got me. It's like, Luke,
Like,
you're
no,
not.
the cook got you. You're
Pull it
bleeding.
together.
Do you have like any PTSD or are you okay? You've lost your human coil. But no, Luke
gosh.
was a go-getter. He was like super positive. I'm gonna steal this potion 86. We're gonna get these witches back, and well, he got the job done at the end. Of the day.
did.
He turned all the witches into mices.
He did.
Yeah.
Mouses. Anything else to add on the witches before we move on? Any final thoughts? And we will rank them at the end of the show.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that
I mean, I
that,
just thought it was pretty cool that I feel like they were treating kids like they had a certain amount of intelligence. You know, like they weren't. The movie was.
It would have been very scary as a child.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
like they're respecting these children's intelligence. Like
Yeah.
they're, you know.
Yeah, I thought the magical quality kind of made the horror that much scarier. I think it worked for a kid.
They
And an
a
adult.
lot of tight camera angles, right? You see that. I
Yeah.
saw that through all of these movies actually though. When they're trying to be scary,
Mm-hmm.
they do like the tight close shot on the faces, make them look crazy. All right, so that was The Witches. I had never seen it before. Excellent
neither.
job, Rivers. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's number one on my list,
Ugh.
but I enjoyed it. Next, we will go to Hocus Pocus,
Ooh, fan
arguably the most famous for at least people my age. I'm 28. Rivers, you don't. Well, now I feel like you have. She's
Now I have to
29.
say I'm
Yeah,
29.
Yeah, it's 29.
Thank you, T-Bob.
I apologize. Kind of rude. But you look great. I would have never guessed a day over 17.
Not like a witch at all.
As long as you have your toes, right? Well, what were the
Well, it
rules in
could
the
be
witches?
Sarah
What if I
Jessica
was, like,
Parker
missing
in
a
Hocus
toe?
Pocus, who was,
Yeah.
young witch.
Babe.
Yeah,
She was hot. She was rocking
years
that cleavage.
before Sex in the City.
All right. So Hocus Pocus. Background on this, Nate. Year and director.
Yeah, this is 1993, directed by Kenny Ortega, who's probably most known nowadays for doing all the High School Musical movies.
Really?
Yeah, and that Michael Jackson documentary. I forget the name of that, but
Okay, that explains the
but no,
musical element.
He's very primarily, other than film, he's big in the musical world. More a theater director than a film director.
That makes sense, though.
That absolutely makes sense because some of, I mean,
very
there are a
thea-
couple
yeah.
solid musical scenes in this
Yeah.
movie. Okay, so I've seen this movie countless times growing up. You too, Rivers?
Me too. So many
Nathan,
times.
had you seen it before?
I had seen it, like I had seen this on VHS
Okay.
whenever I was young. So I didn't see it when it came out because I still had 3 years until I was alive. But
Yeah, I feel like you have to tell us how old you are
Wow,
also.
yeah, I forgot.
yeah, I'm 20. I'm 21. 1996. Beginning of
Okay. Wow,
1996.
96. So this came out in 93?
Yeah,
Hocus Pocus?
93.
Oh man, okay, so Nate, then as you're like our Banks, you're our Hocus Pocus virgin. Well, I guess not technically, but what did you think of the movie?
I liked what I liked about the movie was kind of how charismatic and daring the three actresses who were the witches
Yes,
were able to be.
they were
I like
great.
I like Bette Midler a lot.
Excellent.
She's very good. But just in general, still, while they did a good job and you could tell it went out of their way, I just found them so annoying. I just did all the like their every time one of them says something, Sarah Jessica Parker will just like beam out of the side of the frame and go, ooh.
Yeah.
I think she was the only
it's
one.
over the top.
It
She's
is.
the only one that actually doesn't get on my nerves as far as the witches.
Yeah. The what was I forget what the
There's
names
Winnie
of the witches
and,
were.
I'm forgetting.
There's
too.
wait,
That's bad.
Winnie,
Mary. I was almost
the
had it
vacuum.
with Mary. I could.
had it with Mary.
Is Mary the dumb
This
one?
is Mary right here.
Yeah,
Yes.
she was the least likable of
Least
the three.
likable.
But I mean, they're going for like a kind of Three Stooges type vibe. Right? Like they're going like over the top.
Yeah, and
like y'all take these characters and run with them. It's a kids movie. Be as crazy as you want.
And I kind of felt like the movie almost knows that there are some people that this is just going to work for, the temperament of these three characters, and then some people that won't. I fell in the category of the characters of the three witches got on my nerves, and that was about.
I can see that. I like Sarah Jessica Parker. I mean, in this movie, this is probably my favorite thing that she's done. I don't know, maybe just because she's like young and.
Did she have a
whatever.
prosthetic nose? Or is that her actual nose?
I think that's her real
I know.
nose.
That's terrible.
I'm kidding.
That's
I'm-
a thing you
I
did.
made it.
Cool.
I didn't mean to. I know. I
our friend T-Bob.
apologize. But she has a perfect witch's nose.
Yeah, she does.
Good. She pulls it off. She's
I like
like I
the
said,
whole-
very attractive.
I feel like casting in general was good for this movie. Can we talk about Mr. Thackeray Binks?
Oh,
Babe
you
name?
like some
Babe
Banksies?
in general.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, yeah.
Is-
93.
wait, which one
oh
was he the?
he was the cat.
Okay, I love the cat. I
get-
love the cat.
I-
That was great.
But pre-cat was a babe of a
He
cat.
was
Yes.
still kind of a babe.
So okay, but
Yeah, he was a babe
had,
as a cat too, kind of like.
So wait, so I get confused at time. I always get them mixed up. So we see him we all see him with his mouth sewn shut. No, that's the other guy.
No. So he's
That's
trying
why I
to
always
save his
get
sister
confused
in the
with.
beginning, Emily. So he's like going to save his sister from these sisters. Sister
Yes,
from the
yes, from the sisters.
from the witch sisters.
From the witch sisters.
Yeah, so that's him, and then he gets turned into this cat.
Yes.
And the whole thing. And then the villagers find out what's happening with these sisters and how they're trying to suck the life out of the kids. And
They lock him away. It takes a virgin to
Right,
unlock.
right. The
There's a
virgin
lot
stuff.
of virgin jokes
It's a
that
lot
I
of
did
virgin
not
stuff.
understand.
I had down one of my favorite moments was just the last line, wherever the last line is Thackeray going, I had to wait 300 years for a virgin to light a candle. And it was kind of like, what? Is that where we're leaving this? That was surprising
it.
for a Disney movie.
They're playing the hell out of this dude the entire time for not getting laid. Like even the hot girls get in on jokes. By the way, I had a huge crush on his crush as well when I was growing up.
Also, I didn't realize
Allison.
until watching it this time, that girl was in Eyes Wide Shut.
Ooh.
Which
Whoa, what a
was
jump.
kind of making that realization while watching this the other day was kind of like that's creepy.
what
if
year
I
did
had known.
Eyes Wide Shut come out?
That was 99.
So like not that much longer after Hocus Pocus.
No, she was.
It's a weird jump.
She probably grew up.
Ooh.
Let's hope so.
Six years
Let's
of
hope
seasoning.
so. Yeah, there was a lot of virgin stuff, and I don't remember that. I mean, I knew that was the whole thing with the candle, but watching it in '93 or whatever, I don't remember being like, man, they're talking about virgins a lot.
I never recognized it growing up. I did like I liked some of the magic that they used when you had the circle of salt to keep that. I really liked the I put a spell on you song and dance
Yeah.
number. That might be
I
still to this
love
day
that
my
song.
favorite scene of the of the movie where they get all the parents and hypnotize
They're all,
them
like,
and
sweating and
take
dancing.
them out of the equation.
I like Sarah Jessica Parker's song. That might be my favorite. When she's that "Come Little Children" song and all.
It's haunting.
Ooh, it is.
Now, that is one thing. Is any part of Hocus Pocus actually scary? Like, witches would have been scary as a child. I don't find that I would have been scared about much here.
Yeah, because the witches are pretty much almost played for comedy most
Yes.
of the way through the movie. So
I guess the whole backstory is. I mean, I'm very much here for like fictional historical movies, and that's kind of like the very beginning part with the Salem witches.
In
the
the
whole
same
thing.
way that the witches establishes the stakes right away
Yeah.
with this person got trapped in a painting and had to live in this weird limbo world. Yeah, they do establish off the bat
creepy.
that kids will die,
Right.
and that if you don't beat these witches, that the main characters of this movie will
seeing
die.
a hanging scene in
That-
the beginning of a kid's movie that would
yeah, that's
probably
true. That's
freak
very
them
fair
out. I was a little bit surprised that they talking about virgins hanging people. Disney was a weird year for Disney.
It was a weird time, just in general, like
Yeah.
probably a whole
It
decade.
just it's it's a little earlier. It's where you can maybe do a bit more. Anything else to add on Hocus Pocus? Like I said, I know this is one that probably most people have already seen and are the most familiar with.
Well, this isn't necessarily like my opinion, but it was interesting when I was looking it up. A lot of people talked about how much this movie was hated when it first came out.
Really?
Yeah, it was like got really bad reviews. Nobody liked it, and then and then now it's.
I
kind of
could
a
see.
cult
So now
favorite.
that I know that it's a theatrical release, I could see how if you're putting actual like movie critics on this movie, that it would not hold up well. But being a kid and watching this, I mean, it played very well.
Right.
Like I was very into it, very excited, very scared the entire time. I love a tome of ancient knowledge too. That's always one of my favorite elements of any movie. So that is interesting. I had no idea. It's a definite cult favorite now.
Yeah. It survived the test of time.
Okay, so that was Witches.
That was
Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
Now it is time for Halloween Town, which working on the most limited budget then, because it's a Disney Channel original movie, director and year.
Dwayne Dunham directed the movie, who also did Homeward Bound, which is one of my favorite kids' movies.
Shadow.
I love that movie. And it was...
Shadow.
That's what it sounded
Yeah,
like.
that's Chance.
Yeah.
He's
I mean, yeah.
I'm here, Peter. I'm back. The end of that, you go watch the end of Homeward Bound. The final scene is absolutely hilarious.
I forgot who does the voice of those. Is it Michael J. Fox is one of the dogs. I
Oh, is
forget
he
who
really?
does the other dog.
I had no idea. Homeward Bound solid, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, this came out in 1998, and it was very, like, blast from the past
It was
to
very
see that
98.
old Disney
Yeah.
logo come up. That was weird. But yeah, this is, I mean, it's about a young family that realizes that they have their roots in, witches and warlocks.
Yes,
And so they
and
go over
the
to
Cromwell
Halloween
family.
Town. Yes. Also, I didn't realize until today when looking it up, the grandmother is Carrie Fisher's mother.
Debbie Reynolds. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so young.
Oh, I didn't actually.
See,
I
look at
didn't
me.
How
realize
did you not know
I
that?
don't know. I should have known that. Yeah, I should have known that.
Debbie Reynolds.
I love me some Carrie Fisher.
Did y'all see this? I guess in '98. I guess.
Yes,
was
very
this-
much so.
You
Very
did?
much so.
Okay.
100%. I saw this.
I had never seen it. I'm
You know.
here to admit.
Oh, really?
I confess. Yeah.
So
I'd
that's
never,
weird
never
because
seen it.
I definitely approach this with a healthy amount of nostalgia, which I think probably affects some of my opinions. But so you saw
Probably.
it with fresh adult
I
eyes.
can
So,
confirm that it definitely.
so the same way. Well, I don't know though. I might bounce off against because I just spoiler. I really enjoyed this. But okay, so Nate, you started last one because you had never seen. So Rivers, why don't you start? Why don't you start with Halloween Town?
Yeah. Okay. So this whole movie started a little slow for me. I wasn't really invested until Debbie Reynolds showed up because I mean she's a big name, so I was a little surprised that she was in this movie.
Wait, but that little girl actress, she was on like Quince. She was in Halloween Town 2.
I
The
didn't see any
littlest
of the
girl.
Halloween
She
Town.
looked like the girl from Miss
The
Doubtfire. I know
littlest
that
girl
wasn't her, but
was my
I couldn't-
favorite by far.
Is that Matilda?
No.
Did she grow
Not
up to
at
be?
all.
What other movies is the littlest girl in?
Look
It's
that
gonna
up.
bug me.
Let's let,
All right,
Nate, you
I'll
get on this
I'll get
while
on
Rivers
this.
is
Yeah. So, but just speaking of characters, like Marnie, the oldest girl, you're 13, you're a teenager. Well, we get it. You're so smart and you're so whiny. And I just could not get behind her. I was so over her from the very beginning.
I would love to see 13-year-old Rivers.
Oh, I'm sure I was way worse.
I would
but-
love to see if 13-year-old Rivers had all resembled Marnie.
Oh my
Probably not in the movie, though.
Get over it. You're gonna see your friends tomorrow at
Dude, she
school.
wanted to. Whoa! I gotta stand up for my girl Marnie here. She wanted to go trick or treating.
I get
She
it.
was
I mean,
never
whatever.
allowed to enjoy Halloween.
No, I got that. I liked the way that she would jump from Halloween to. You're like a terrible mother. It was the worst.
I mean, it was so dramatic. And maybe
13-year-old girls are dramatic.
I know,
I had two
but I'm
older
not 13
sisters,
or
and I
anything.
have witnessed those fights between my mother and my sisters
Oh,
a million times
and I've had
over.
them. I've had them, but I'm not 13 anymore. And now, on the other side of it, I can acknowledge how obnoxious
So
that I
you-
was at 13 and how obnoxious she is.
You reach that point in your life where it's like, where you know when you're younger, you always say, "I'll never do this to my kid," or like, "I'll
I'm
never."
there.
Yeah, now you're like, "God, this stupid."
I'm on the
kid."
other side.
Stupid kid doesn't know
although,
anything.
you know what? Sophie, the youngest one, she was chill. I could hang with her. I
She
liked
was
her.
like
She was
very
so
relaxed the
chill.
entire
But-
time.
She like turned that lock into a frog at one point and was like, "Whatever, y'all."
that actress, actually, it looks like pretty much all that she did were the other Halloween Town movies.
No, Quince, not Quince. The older girl or just a little girl?
The little girl.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Did
I
y'all
agree
see the
more.
other? How many Halloween Town movies have y'all seen?
Literally,
Because
this is
I have
it.
got the whole series in my head. I know.
No.
I watched all those movies.
Wait, no, did you watch all of them? I watched
Not for
two.
this, but like whenever I was
oh.
younger, I had gone through all
Just
of them
for
like
life.
2 or 3 times. Yeah.
I remember being, I did not rewatch 2. I remember being very disappointed in 2 at the time. It just didn't touch me at all the same way that Halloween Town 1 did.
I don't know. I felt like I already knew the creepy mayor and that cool kid was like something was wrong with them already, which I think is a good rule of thumb in life. Just like anybody who's like cool and good looking is probably bad. in the
I
movie.
love how the mayor, if you think about his backstory, he must have been filled with such rage because his crush had left decades before. And then he decides, I'm going to run for mayor, and then I'm going to kill everyone, and then I'm going to rule both worlds. And then she comes back.
Nope. Not
Coincidentally.
today.
So the only problem that I had is that, and maybe this is because I already knew it, so I knew what happened, but you could immediately, out of the first scene, tell that the mayor was the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
when you see him peeking through the window, like they show City Hall, and then because of the orientation, they show the bad guy like peeking out of a window out of City Hall. It's the only place it could be. And then the mayor walks out of City Hall. So, I mean, and I don't think they tried to hide it, right? I mean, it's a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Maybe they were being heavy-handed with it, but there was no mystery as to who the big
no
bad
mystery,
was.
and it all happened very quickly. I felt like the kids got there, and then they were, with
It was
the
like 2
grandmother,
days.
and then the grandmother
Yeah.
got turned into a thing,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they just knew how to fix her, and it was very quick.
Well, you just had to finish the witch's brew. That's all you
Yeah.
did.
I mean, yeah, but
I
Poured
felt,
in Merlin's artifact.
it felt like the funnest thing about the movie was seeing a world that is nothing but Halloween. So it's just like you
I'm
got
into that.
skeletons driving cabs, which is fun, like a jack-o'-lantern that gives everyone the power. But as
How
far
about
as
the dog barber? My
Yeah.
favorite scene in the movie.
That
dog
was-
haircut
I like
guy
your,
was
movements
fantastic.
for dog barber.
Oh, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was feeling. He was that was my favorite scene. But it goes back to what Nate was saying about the world building.
Yeah, no, I just thought that as far as the story goes, like there wasn't really too much of a story. Like you could pretty much map out where everything was going. And so when the best parts of the movie are whenever they're showing you Halloween stuff.
right.
And so I think that's why I think you hit the nail on the head as to why that movie appeals to me so much. I love world building. I love fantasy worlds. Like I'm willing to accept a less well executed actual plot or storyline
Yeah.
So,
if
like,
I'm
no plot.
into the setting.
Cool.
Oh, there's a plot. They had to defeat Calabar. He was very evil. He was freezing people.
It wasn't
for,
that evil. It was just like kind
He
of
was, dude. He was killing people and putting them in the theater. I don't know, but they were
They
like
weren't
frozen.
dead.
Were they like
literally
an army?
dead.
Was that
the
an
grandmother
army?
said, she's like, we're just frozen.
I don't know Calabar's end game.
Yeah, it felt
I
like he didn't
don't
think
know.
it through because he kind of like popped up and everyone was kind of like, oh, wow, there's a bad guy in town. And then
There
at the
he
end,
is.
they beat him after like 5 minutes and then everyone's like, hooray, we're saved.
Okay,
Apparently we
now,
were in danger.
how they defeat him is about as
a little
weak
sketchy.
as you're going to get. But there are very Harry Potter-esque elements to this movie that I think I love. Like in terms of the 13-year-old girl desperately wanting something more than this normal life, not having it, and all of
yeah.
a sudden she figures out, oh, it's the same thing as when I'll never forget the first time reading that line from Hagrid where he says, "You're a wizard, Harry." It's like that same type of feeling, which I love. Then you even have your kind of Hogwarts Express scene where they're on the train and they're like, what the hell is going
My
on
little
here?
brother was a little.
The best.
Negative.
That's what I was
he-
going to say. He was the best. He's sitting there. He's just ridden a bus interdimensionally into a town filled with like all these crazy beings that obviously aren't human. And he's like the whole time trying to act like it's just normal.
It's like so fine.
yeah, like, nah, I guess I'm just hallucinating. Might as well
This
have fun
is a
with it.
dream.
Yeah.
I
Whatever.
loved the dynamic of the little brother, bigger sister thing. That reminds me of when I was younger. But yeah, like I said, so Harry Potter elements in that you're thrust into this world. You have powers. All of a sudden, you're more special than you know. And you have to save the day in this world that you are kind of a newcomer to. And they managed to get it done.
I'll be honest, I was a little nervous that Marnie was going to turn out to not be a witch because she wanted so desperately to
Me
be a witch.
too.
And then her
I
little
never
sister
even
could
thought
already
about that.
do a bunch of the stuff.
Really? So that never crossed your mind?
No,
It
I
was
mean-
like a constant point of anxiety
Yes,
because
me
the
too.
sister was always doing
With
stuff
the
and
frogs.
Marnie wasn't.
Yeah.
Did she
nervous.
say that? Didn't the mom tell her that when she was younger, those
She,
things
when she
happened to
confirmed
her?
it, I was like, whew.
Yeah.
good.
No, that's really funny you say that, Rivers, because I was on the exact same page. Like until that moment, I was waiting for the mom to take her aside and be like, "Look, you actually
This
don't
is
have
gonna be a little
powers," and she
awkward,
was just gonna be
but-
so devastated.
You're gonna have to go sit on that barrel of hay for the next 30
Do you know the
minutes.
thing that I enjoyed the most about the entire movie was the grandmother's microwave.
Yeah.
Bubble toilet trouble.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry. You know, go. You
I
go.
got
You
y'all
go.
very
You go.
excited.
Watching this older, I kind of liked the idea that the grandmother might have some form of dementia, particularly at the beginning. I just thought that I know that wasn't happening, but part of me just thought like if this woman was in real life, she just she just seems
She's
like the most
just like a mad
absurd
homeless
ever.
woman.
Yeah.
Shows up with all the candy,
Oh, her
dressed all
her little
crazy.
bag dog.
I'm always dressed like this. It's like yeah, I bet.
We know, Grandma.
We know.
You're kind of losing your mind a little bit. I love an endless bag.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan
Little
of
Mary
that.
Yeah.
Poppins.
I will say this. So if we're to compare, let's compare the witches in the 3 movies.
Oh gosh.
Specifically,
Oh, wow.
which witches do you think study the most? And I can start because I think I have a very clear answer in my mind. I love Halloween Town's worldview as an adult, in that it's not the fact that you're an ogre or a troll or a warlock or a witch that makes you evil. Anybody can be good. They go out of their way, the grandma does say at the beginning of the movie, that it's the heart that decides, and that there are good witches, there are bad witches, there are good ogres, bad. And I love that worldview. It's right in my mind. Witches, on the other hand, and even Hocus Pocus, much more like, no, these things are just
They are
straight evil.
bad.
They
They're
want to kill
evil.
kids. That's all they're into.
Yeah.
I can consider that. That's actually a really good point. But I'm always going to be behind my girl, Sarah Jessica Parker in Hocus Pocus. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I've got to
She
say,
got great cleavage.
She did.
I loved the witches in The Witches. I just they creeped me out, and I wish I had seen that when I was younger because I feel like that would have stuck with me for a really long time.
The
And-
witches and the witches were by far the scariest.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Halloween Town almost has zero scary elements.
I would have been freaky whenever what was the bad guy's name?
Calabar.
Calabar.
Yeah, whenever Calabar comes out of the movie theater whirlpool.
That's
thing.
true. That the interdimension, the movie theater that no one goes.
No one ever went
into
to?
Yeah, I
ever.
don't know. It's just one
Let's-
town with
and
the-
there's like 4 buildings. That's what my buddy
Look-
pointed out last night as we're watching. There's like 4 buildings, and I guess no one just goes in the theater. Which
That's
is one
a
of
real
them.
place in like I don't know
Yeah, I
Oregon or
saw-
something. That movie theater exists.
They still like every Halloween they kind of dress up the town to look like Halloween
Isn't
Town.
that
Oh,
awesome?
that's pretty great.
How
Yeah.
much are you gonna go see that?
I love Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I would be
Oh, yeah.
I would be into going to the actual Halloween Town. Last thing on that movie, some of the worst special effects I've ever seen. The grandma dodges when the grandma was dodging the
grandma
bolts
Yeah.
from Calabar, and it's like I like to imagine in my head that her reactions are so fine tuned and she's so fast that she's just moving. She only needs the bare minimal movement to perfectly
It's like The
dodge.
Matrix.
But yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Also,
Yeah.
Calabar's whole plan of like freezing people, but then not
It
really
wasn't
killing
thought out.
them,
You
and
point-
then,
it-
I
and then
loved
not.
how-
What
at-
in game? You know,
At the end, whenever he's like, "I'm the most powerful warlock in the world," and then the family's like, "Come on, hold hands," and then they kill. He's like, "Ah, no!"
It does not. Okay, so that either speaks very well to the Cromwell lineage, or that the most powerful warlock in the world just doesn't mean much at all. Because how they beat him in the end, they just stuck Merlin's trinket in the pumpkin.
in the pumpkin.
Yeah, she kind of dropped it.
How
in
did
there.
and how she got there to know that she had to put it in that pumpkin? I mean,
it's a Cromwell thing.
it
Okay.
was a stretch. It
You
was
just
a job.
you want to get it. Who had
Big learning curve in the 24 hours. that-
out of the 3? Yeah, for real. Out of the 3, the ghost sweat scene was pretty great. That's
that was you know
that
what?
was
That was
funny.
actually my very favorite scene. He got so skinny and I loved it.
He did get very skinny. I was a bit worried that, like, oh my God, they just locked this guy in there after turning up the heat. That's very
can a
messed
ghost
up.
gain weight back? Like, how does that work?
I have no. If we're going to get into the scientific angles and questions that are raised by these movies, we might be in some trouble.
Yeah, there were some weird strands that I followed about the Halloween Town world. Like it said that the world used to be one, like the Halloween people
Yes,
and
that's a
and
good
then
point.
they created this other one and the mortals sent everyone there. And they're like these weird like dog and cat people. So are the dog and cat people, were they like people turned into dogs and cats, or was there a weird thing that went on in the world and they banished their children to
So back in
Ooh, that was deep.
in
Deep.
BC, kind of BC to AD, during that transition period to thinking Roman Empire, there was actually in North America, so opposite side of the world where we
Yeah.
don't have a lot of history from, there was a constant battle between witches, warlocks, and basic humans. And one of the go-to moves was to turn them into a dog they accidentally created an actual subspecies of human, which, as they said, once they got out of the dark times, they referenced the dark times where everybody's fighting, and they kind of grew out of it. Then they were an accepted part of society.
Huh.
They didn't
there's
get,
maybe
they,
some
they didn't
minor
really get
backstory that I
jobs
added.
because they were discriminating against the cat people or the dog people.
Well, the dog got cut the hair though.
Yeah, he was good at that.
I would like to know why the grandma has to leave Halloween Town and go live in the regular world, and why they can't just move to Halloween Town, because obviously they love Halloween Town.
I
now.
think you can only travel between on Halloween. Is that? But then they
Maybe.
traveled like the
they
day
didn't
after.
explain that. I don't think, because the mom just popped in.
No, but the grandma has one line about like, I can only travel on Halloween or something. So, okay, so they played a little fast and loose with the science.
Fast and
That's
loose.
why, I mean, I thought that the important thing was just, hey, it's a town where it's Halloween all the time. And so the story
100%.
isn't really the main thing here. Just have fun
The
in a world
story
that's
is not
Halloween.
the main
That's
thing
what appealed to
here.
me. That's
Yeah.
what appealed to me. Okay, real quick before we get into, we're almost ready to rank.
Yeah.
Who had? Let's just compare some elements of 3 movies. Who had the best plan for the villains as out of the 3 movies? We just ripped on Calabar's. No real idea what his in-game was. Who do you think would have been the most successful?
I think the Hocus Pocus witches. I mean, just maybe because the other plans are so bad.
Yeah, it's like it's
Yeah.
not even that great. It's just by
just
comparison.
not
People,
as
at
bad.
least everyone else, I would say, I would actually, Hocus Pocus, those witches, because everyone else, their reach
Those
was
witches.
exceeding their grasp by far. Like the Hocus Pocus witches were just like, just get some kids. We just want to be young.
We should have sucked their
so
life
you can
force.
understand that motive, right? They
Yeah.
want to live longer. They want to
wanna
get
be
young
young,
again.
yeah.
That makes sense.
They want to be beautiful.
The mouse thing, as we discussed, maybe a bit of sense in that people have no qualms about killing mice.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can kill a lot of kids that way.
And really, they were
Also,
rats.
it's just a
like they were straight
long,
rats.
just a long process to achieve a simple goal.
Like if you have these powers where you can make a snake just appear, why not just kill the kid?
Where
Yeah.
did that money come from? Too. She's like, I've got bags of money.
Yeah, that was weird, and that
money and potion.
and also no idea that like parents wouldn't notice. Like, oh my goodness, my child. I sent him in there 5 minutes ago, and he's disappeared. People would stop going pretty quickly to the candy store.
Yeah.
So is that a like pre cell phone type deal? How chill those parents were when the kids
So
went missing
chill.
until they figured out that
Those
their son
parents
had
were like,
become a
ha, ha,
mouse.
ha, 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 my son's not gone. Like, what?
Hard to understand. English dad? Was that an English accent? Was it a little Scottish? Like, what was his accent?
I thought
He
it
was
traveled
great.
a little bit around the aisles. A little.
We
Just
were
a little
all over
UK.
the board.
It was a UK accent. I thought that was a very good character as well in The Witches. All right. So this is our first time ranking. Do we just want to go around the table and we'll see if there's any sort of consensus as to first, second, and third? We'll start.
Yeah,
Nathan?
number 3 would be Hocus Pocus. Number 2, Halloween Town, and then I would say by quite a long distance, then The Witches. I really enjoyed The Witches.
Really?
Yeah. Kind of creeped me out a little bit.
Rivers?
All right. Number 3, Halloween Town. I just couldn't get behind it. I love Hocus Pocus, but as far as, like which movie was better, I think The Witches was better. So I'd go 3, Halloween Town, 2, Hocus Pocus, 1, The Witches.
Well, so that's I'm
this up
going to
for us
go
now.
and so
Do you feel pressure now?
I'm ranking mine not necessarily on what I think is the best movie that would appeal to general audiences. Like if that's, I do think it's probably The Witches.
Yeah, and I would also say that like if someone asked me like I want to introduce my child to a Halloween scary movie that isn't going to scare them too much, that's what I would say The Witches, because I think it's
Yes.
good for kids.
I
would
agree.
say.
I agree. And I think all these movies play
Yeah.
pretty well with children. But I guess in terms of what I got the most enjoyment of this week when we were watching these movies, I'm actually going to go Hocus Pocus 3. And an element of that may be that I've seen it so many times that it was kind of like I had to force myself a bit to watch it. I'm going to go Witches 2. I thought that I'd never seen that. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I had some gripes and I have some questions, but I kind of like how randomly it became a mouse movie halfway through. Whatever, that was fine. Man, Halloween Town though, I had such a good time watching. You're giving me these looks right now. I had such a good time watching Halloween Town last night, and
Because you're wrong.
No,
I think Nathan explained it perfectly. Why the movie appeals to me. It is the universe. It's the setup. It's this idea of a Halloween town.
I'm just saying, I'm happy someone is standing up for Halloween Town because there's a very special place in my heart for Halloween Town. So I'm happy that someone chose that.
He's like, I'm happy it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
like-
now, if I could get the prosthetics of the witches, like that quality applied to Halloween Town, then we'd really be
It'd be a
cooking
totally
with
different
gas.
movie.
Yeah.
Because like some of the masks in Halloween Town, like some were nice and some were just so phoned in.
Was it like a troll?
Yeah,
So
that
ugly.
kid, that was. Oh,
and she's not into you.
there
Don't let
was-
her trick you.
There was they're in Halloween Town for like a day, pretty much. And he says,
He's
like
in
he
love
said,
with
I
her.
was doing what I did because I thought I wouldn't be able to date you. And it's like it's been a day now.
Look,
like it's been
when
one
you're-
day.
y'all know
I know,
this.
and that's
Fast
When
and
you're
loose.
true.
13
Fast
years
and
old,
loose.
you can fall in and out of love very fast.
Yeah, a week is a year.
Yes, a week is a year. Well said. All right, so final count. So what was yours again? One more time.
3 Hocus Pocus, 2 Halloween Town, 1 The Witches.
All right, Rivers, you?
I went 3 Halloween Town, 2 Hocus Pocus, 1 The Witches.
Okay, and I went 3 Hocus Pocus, 2 Witches, 1 Halloween Town. So I kind of lost track of math.
The Witches won.
So the Witches wins. The Witches, so according to us here at Real Friends, and we are real friends, and we talk about movies, if you want a single kid's Halloween movie to show your child this Halloween, we think that The Witches is the best. What came in last? Hocus Pocus? Because I had a 3. He had a 3. You had a 2.
Yeah, it must have been Hocus
So it looks
Pocus.
like Halloween Town sneaking in second.
Good. I'm happy with this list.
Me too.
I'm very
I think I would
happy
be
with
interested to see Halloween Town 2 and 3. I like a good series of
It
movies, even if
goes
it's not great.
downhill fast.
Yeah, I mean,
If
too.
I already don't like it, I'm setting my bar here.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I remember as a kid not liking 2. So it could not have been good.
Okay.
'Cause
3
it
and
should
4
have
were
been right up my
trash.
alley.
Even as a child, I
How
thought 3
in the
and 4
world
were
did
trash.
they even make a 3 and 4?
I remember being like 7 and be like, here comes the 4th one tonight. And it was the type of thing like you realize I didn't even finish that movie. That ended 3 hours ago. I didn't finish it. So
Okay, well, y'all, I think this is pretty great. So this is episode 0 of Real Friends.
so what are we doing next time? What is at least the genre that we're doing next time? We're still in horror.
Should know this, yes, because we need to have. I
Slasher?
don't think we've narrowed
I
it down
thought
to our
it-
3 movies yet. Though.
Okay, well, we know that we're going to do Supernatural. Going forward, we'll be doing Supernatural. We'll be doing psychological thriller, and then we know we're ending with the ultimate Halloween
So
movies.
yeah, we'll end with last. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna do 1 episode every week, 3 movies every week. Like we said, the actual Halloween week. Think like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, like stuff like that. That's where we're kind of going. Supernatural, we got to choose out of movies like Rosemary's Baby, The Omen, Antichrist, The Witch, along those lines. Thriller week, which we're thinking maybe a little like Shining, Silence of the Lambs, Black Swan, Seven Misery. We'll see. We'll get it nailed down. What we want to do though, and I guess next episode we'll have this by the end of the show so people know. We want to let y'all know what movies we're going to watch.
we want you.
So that when you come join these conversations, like you can be at home, you can watch them on your own, and then you can like be in the room with us and send in your rankings to us. Where can everybody get in touch with you on social media?
Nathan VEL 812. That's on Twitter for me.
Nathan VEL 812 Rivers.
At Rivs Huey
It's
on
pretty-
Twitter.
I'm supposed to say at.
Easy right there. Yeah, come on, Nate.
I'm
You're supposed to be
You're
on
the mo-
you're
you're
the
the
young,
young
one.
one.
Let's
Come
go.
on.
You should know technology better
I
than
still
any
do
of us.
MySpace.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised you know what MySpace is.
Oh my God, I bet my MySpace still exists out there somewhere.
They're still out there.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
well, guess what? Y'all would be in my top 8 if they were still MySpace.
I don't even know what
thanks.
that is.
You
I
would-
want to
you
go
would
and
be
see
my
what
top.
song is playing in my background right now.
Oh man, you don't know the MySpace top 8 is?
I just know that MySpace is dead. I don't know what's actually on it.
It was a big social deal. A lot of drama was caused because MySpace thought it was a good idea to make everybody put their top 8 friends on their homepage.
And you switched them around
Oh,
like
wow.
every
And,
week.
yeah, and so like if you didn't make the cut, you're like, what the hell, dude? I'm not in your top 8. It's like thought we were boys.
I feel like I got broken up with one time by getting taken out of
gosh.
someone's top 8.
That-
I don't know that I was actually broken
The
up with.
first
That's
thing I
a
remember
thing.
about MySpace is just
What
hearing on
happened?
the news all the time. Someone else got kidnapped through MySpace. They meant that was
No,
what I.
that's
That
not
damn
what we were-
MySpace.
That's not what I was doing.
Great for no, okay, I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, okay, so look, so we'll let you know the movies ahead of time. Follow us on social media. You can catch us on our actual radio show on Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN, each and every morning. We talk sports. We talk movies here, though, and we're going to be weekly during October. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Probably bi-weekly.
We will see what happens
outside of
going
that. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes going forward. Thank you for everyone who joined in. I'm excited to be a part of this journey for you. And shout out to Joseph Rodriguez behind the desk, producing on the video side, making sure that we look good, all the angles working, making it happen. But yeah, thank you all very much. And until next time.
See y'all later.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to come up with like a good movie catchphrase. Have a real good day.
Oh, God.